At the U.S. Open Wednesday night, Jelena Ostapenko of Latvia learned a very valuable lesson. Do not mess with a sister from Chicago. Taylor Townsend, a 29-year-old African-American, was pretty much an unknown tennis player before beating Ostapenko in straight sets 7-5 and 6-1. When the players shook hands, Ostapenko told Townsend she had no class and no education. Ostapenko claimed Townsend was disrespectful for not apologizing for a point when Townsend's shot bounced off the net. Ostapenko said Townsend violated a rule in tennis by not apologizing. There is no such rule in tennis, even from an etiquette standpoint, where a player has to apologize for scoring a point. Townsend stayed in Ostapenko's face during the heated handshake and let her know she's a strong black woman. Townsend moves on to the third round Friday to play Myra Andreeva of Russia. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader. Following the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
Let it flow, baby.
Somebody told me there'd be trouble at home, 'cause we never talk a lot when we spend time alone. Hey, so how are we supposed to know if something is wrong when we got a way to communicate? It keeps us happy home, and no one does it like me. I know, but sure, how's it going to whip up your own brain? Yeah.
KBLA Talk 1580. I guess you had to be there. Ha! Woo, that was a great show. I mean, I'm talking about hits. I didn't even realize that Babyface wrote Sitting Up in My Room, one of those songs I love by Brandy. I'm your baby tonight. Dial my heart. 2 occasions. My. Every time I close my eyes, rock steady. Exhale, from Waiting to Exhale, of course. Another sad love song. I'll make love to you, baby, baby, baby. These are all so many different artists. The inside of that man's brain must be just hit songs. I don't know how there would be room for anything else. Anyway, big fun. And I'll be listening to Uncle Charlie and Babyface all day today. So Think Tank Thursday is a thing now. Thank you very much to Kwamel for setting it off, and also to Jacqueline Anderson, who won our knowledge pack for coming up with the name Think Tank Thursday with our contest. We will develop this, and there may be more and more features to it, but right now it's kind of like a version of Talking Point Thursday, where, whether it's in the chat at KBLA 1580 on YouTube, or whether it's on the phone at 800-920-1580, or in the comments somewhere, that you share your thoughts, your brain power on how to address this issue. And today, the question that I posed is, what are the lessons of the disaster of Hurricane Katrina and the recovery that we can learn from today? Whether it's the fire recovery in Altadena or what's to come, right? We have ratcheted up the level of this climate emergency now to where every single major city and little towns across the country are in a position today where we could be looking at this level of disaster. It doesn't have to be a flood, could be a fire, could be a tornado, an earthquake, you name it. What does that look like? What have we learned, and where are we going with that? And I was citing Dr. Mabel John, the late and great Dr. Mabel John, because she always said we are the safety net. Now, my other point is we're not going to scrape our pennies together and come up with $140 billion, which is what was pledged to rebuild New Orleans, and which a lot of that money is unaccounted for, or was not transparently used, or was gobbled up by corporations who used it to privatize industry or do whatever they did with it. And there was little accountability or oversight. I have a feeling that Taco, Trump's always chickens out. That's what Taco stands for. Trump always chickens out. Taco Trump, who has backed down on some tariffs, but he's so erratic you don't know, because some tariffs, like the India one, he's holding the line on that. That he'll probably change his mind about dismantling FEMA, because I don't think it's going to be popular with his base, especially since they're going to be in big trouble in those red states if FEMA goes away, because they're using money that comes from California and New York, the high earning states, to rebuild Mississippi, Texas, places that don't make the kind of money we make. So if you just leave it to cities and states, it's going to be more of a problem for his Republican constituents than others. That said, you never know with this dude. He does a lot of things that don't make sense for the people he claims to be representing and helping. And so I think we're going to have to look at, yes, you do what you can in terms of raising money. The issue of how that money is spent, not just on buildings, but on people, humans. People are what make up places. Altadena without the people is not Altadena. New Orleans without the people is not New Orleans. And a lot of those folks never came back. 37% fewer black people than they had before. That's not real recovery if the people don't get to recover. And infrastructure means not just buildings, it means things that serve people, like clinics. and libraries and parks and bus systems. Those have to be invested in, not just handing checks to corporations, which is what did end up happening quite a bit from what I can gather in New Orleans. There is a major energy company that got a whole bunch of money to recover, and yet the electricity, it's called Entergy. They were supposed to rebuild better, and apparently the company took that money, $200 million, and we don't know what they did with it. They're the main electricity provider in New Orleans. So the government gave them $200 billion, but there was no strings attached, like you got to use this to rebuild the energy grid. And you got to build it in a way so that it's smarter and more resilient for future storms. They didn't do that. And now we don't know what happened, what they did with that money. In fact, there was a hurricane called Ida about 4 years ago. And people in New Orleans, a lot of the areas that were hit by Katrina didn't have any electricity for weeks, which means that Entergy company did not build that infrastructure back better. Who knows what they did with it. Now they're trying to get money, I guess, on a statewide level to fix the energy infrastructure. But how is that not part of the $140 billion that you spent after Katrina? That's so even a FEMA under Doge or a FEMA under Trump, because I don't see him actually getting rid of that, but we'll see. We shall see. 800-920-1580. Morris says, release the Epstein files. I agree with that. Yeah. Truth Speak was insulted that I called him a Republican. I'm just going by the talking points that you put in the chat room. They tend to be, maybe you're an independent like Fred, because there's lots of independents that say they're not Republicans and they have Republican talking points. So forgive me if I mistook you based on your policy positions. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. Meanwhile, we have some issues, lots of issues going on worldwide and, nationally that are unique to this era, this second Trump administration. And one of them is the dismantling of the government infrastructure in the name of saving money or in the name of making cuts to the budget. But meanwhile, we're spending outrageous amounts of money giving tax cuts to billionaires in the big ugly bill. And we are not actually cutting the budget. We are adding trillions to the deficit while cutting important things like, the Department of Education. I'm not going to lie. When I read that in Project 2025, I didn't think they would really do it. I didn't think they would really, first of all, I didn't think they had the authority to do it, which they probably don't. But by the time the courts rule that, it'll be really hard to put that genie back in the bottle. And so, for all intents and purposes, it has been dismantled. And that's the same thing we're seeing with the Consumer Protection Agency. It is the same thing we are seeing with the CDC, right? Center for Disease Control, the RFK, the Health and Human Services Secretary, saying he is trying to fire the head of the Center for Disease Control. This is someone who's confirmed by the Senate, and Bernie Sanders is saying she would need to be impeached. She couldn't just be removed by RFK. She would have to be removed by the president or by an impeachment. But this is just, another example of the dismantling of agencies, services, programs. And let me tell you something. I was having a conversation with a black business person yesterday. We believe when we started believing this hype about DEI is only helping white people, white women, which white women need help too. But that also is an untrue talking point. It's not the truth. Maybe a lot of white women got jobs through diversity, equity, and inclusion, and those jobs are cut. But we know now, something that I told you from the minute he started this DEI stuff, that most of those jobs are held by black people, and specifically black women. I had one of those jobs one time. When I was community action director for a large radio station, I would put that under DEI. They needed help with their relations and their charitable ventures inside the black community. It's not a black-owned station. That was a DEI job, but I met a lot of people in other corporations. They're DEI people. They're mostly black women, and we see that with who's gotten laid off here. But I said at the time, it's not just black women in jobs, it's programs, business support programs, pots of money that were set aside for, say, education in various areas, home ownership, for example, or financial literacy, various kinds of financial literacy outreach. That's corporate outreach that is done through monies that are now being cut because they're seen as DEI. So those are dollars that would flow to black community, to black-owned businesses, consultants, educators. All that money is gone because corporations are preemptively surrendering. They're taking the money back. They're not hiring black companies, black consultants, black people because they don't want to be accused of DEI. We saw this with the major educational institutions, places like UCLA, which are public institutions, but they don't want to admit too many black students now because they're saying they're worried they'll be accused of DEI. So it's actually the opposite of affirmative action. It's causing people to not hire black people and not admit black folks to school because they don't want to be accused of DEI, even if that admission had nothing to do with the person's race. That's where we are right now. And this is hurting black individuals in terms of jobs, and it's hurting black businesses. And let me tell you, this is going to become clearer and clearer in the next 365 days. 800-920-1580, that's the number if you want to jump in. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor.
Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
A whole new world. I think that's what's coming to my mind, and not in a good way. The foreign minister of Denmark has called in the top U.S. diplomat in Denmark because apparently some investigative reporting showed that at least 3 people connected to our president, President Trump, have been trying to do covert influence operations in Greenland. So Trump got these little diplomats over there trying to steal Greenland, and Denmark's not having it. They are telling, the U.S. government has said they do not control the direct actions of private citizens, and they're basically telling Denmark to calm down. But if you think about it, think about that, okay? This is in Denmark. They're calling the diplomats in, saying, "Hey, stop trying to do covert operations in Greenland. In other words, stop trying to steal Greenland for Trump, right? Because he wants it." France has summoned the American ambassador to Paris. This is Charles Kushner, which is the father of Jared Kushner, who's married to Trump's daughter. They summoned him to Paris because he wrote a letter to Macron saying that the country is too anti-Semitic and they're not doing enough to stop anti-Semitism. Of course, that's the playbook of the Trump administration. It's what they're doing with the universities and other institutions, trying to defund them based on these allegations of anti-Semitism. But U.S. diplomats, no diplomat, not just U.S. diplomats, ambassadors are not supposed to meddle in the affairs of the countries that they serve. They're just supposed to be there for diplomacy. They're not supposed to be trying to meddle in the governance of those states. France says that they have violated international law by trying to interfere with the operations of their government, and that it falls short of the quality of the transatlantic partnership between France and the United States. So again, these are Trump diplomats, and you got to, we've been having conversations about this. You've got to put it in the context of history. These are things that are not normal. It's not considered normal, and so. What we're talking about is the U.S. now getting a reputation where we're not going to have any trust. Like, how can you even operate in the international stage if you're just going to have your diplomats acting as spies or trying to unfurl the Steve Miller, Donald Trump playbook on other countries' governance? It's just like the way he's using the tariffs to try to say, oh, you can't prosecute Bolsonaro. We don't want you to do this policy, South Africa. So we're going to punish you with tariffs. And by doing that, we're going to try to control the way you govern. That's not what diplomats are meant to do. We're talking about that with John Feely last week, who was the former U.S. ambassador to Panama, and how outside the norm diplomatic relations are right now. And if you missed that show, just like any other show, you can find the podcast wherever you get your pods for free, or watch it on YouTube at KBLA 1580. Going to Willie from Palmdale. Good morning, Willie.
Good morning, Dominique. Good morning, Front Page. Good morning, KBLA family. I want to ask you, do you think Project 2025 is a result of them being going to be the minority in 2050?
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying. You're saying the Republican Party and this extreme conservative white supremacist portfolio becoming a smaller and smaller slice of the electorate, so they're trying to rig the game. I do think that's true, not just of Project 2025, but a lot of the things that they do. The gerrymandering, the gaslighting, the changes in voting policy, right, to try to make it harder for Black people, young people, women to vote. I think a lot of those are reactions to the fact that they know, because we don't have to wait till 2050. If you look at the number of actual votes, as if there were no lines, there were no districts, it was just one big pool of votes, there are more Democrats. There are more people voting for progressive candidates than there are, or even so-called centrist candidates, than there are conservatives. The only thing that keeps them in power is the way they have the maps carved up, and the fact that we only get 2 senators per state, no matter what the size of the state is, and that we still have this archaic electoral college, which means you can lose the popular vote and still win the White House. And so those aspects of our government need to change. And I do agree with you. Project 2025 is to some degree a means to maintain control, even as they are losing. And they really have already lost the majority. Willie, you're welcome to stay with me. We've got news, traffic, and sports right now. Then we continue this conversation on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser says federal agents aren't helping, but admits Trump's law enforcement surge has cut crime.
We know that we have had fewer gun crimes, fewer homicides, and we have experienced an extreme reduction in carjackings.
She criticized masked ICE and National Guard troops, saying residents are living in fear. A Black couple from Las Vegas has launched Coco Classroom, a Black-owned AI-powered homeschooling platform. Michael Roebuck and Regina Snape Roebuck say it helps parents create personalized lessons with no teaching degree required. And a New York judge has dismissed a sexual assault lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs filed in New York by a California man, ruling the 2015 claim was filed too late. Combs still faces dozens of other cases and awaits sentencing on prostitution charges. Get BIN News Now, on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
At the U.S. Open Wednesday night, Jelena Ostapenko of Latvia learned a very valuable lesson. Do not mess with a sister from Chicago. Taylor Townsend, a 29-year-old African-American, was pretty much an unknown tennis player before beating Ostapenko in straight sets 7-5 and 6-1. When the players shook hands, Ostapenko told Townsend she had no class and no education. Ostapenko claimed Townsend was disrespectful for not apologizing for a point when Townsend's shot bounced off the net. Ostapenko said Townsend violated a rule in tennis by not apologizing. There is no such rule in tennis, even from an etiquette standpoint, where a player has to apologize for scoring a point. Townsend stayed in Ostapenko's face during the heated handshake and let her know she's a strong black woman. Townsend moves on to the third round Friday to play Myra Andreeva of Russia. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
You gotta dip your chicken strips. Hey, this is Kiani.
And this is Tabitha.
And a little thing we love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips
is all the different sauces we can dip them in. I like to line up all my favorite sauces so that in every bite, I have a different flavor. Then with the tenderness of the chicken, the juiciness of it, it's all there.
And for me, I like to mix my sauces so I get a little tang and I get a little sweetness all in one bite.
That's what makes it for me. Like, that's what does it for me.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
You do belong here, and I'm glad that you are here. Willie from Palmdale called me talking about Project 2025. We had to go to news, traffic, and sports, but Willie, you're back on.
Yes, I was just saying, like you was mentioning. I don't know how to forget that name. The one that says spread Christmas in summertime.
I don't know what you're talking about right now, but I'm a bit tired because I was out partying to Babyface and Charlie Wilson last night. So you're not gonna get. I'm not gonna be able to give you a lifeline today. But yeah, you're just really what you were focusing on.
Dr. Mabel John.
Oh, Dr.
Mabel John.
Dr. Mabel John. Okay, yeah, Dr. Mabel John. Right.
Yeah. Like you say, we're the safety net, and I believe, it's people make the world go round. Money is just a tool to be used and not abused. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well. But when you're talking about billions like that, you have to have, I guess, strong oversight. But what I was saying in reference to Katrina, which applies to Altadena, is that it's also what you fund. We shouldn't just give billions to Edison and say, go fix the infrastructure. We got to subsidize people. We have to help people to get back there and stay back there and subsidize the things that serve people like libraries and transit systems and that kind of thing.
That's true. I believe you. But remember when Katrina hit, they called them refugees.
Yeah. Which was
so I don't know what the status is.
I mean that's highly racist too, because refugees come from other countries. We were all Americans. I mean, I sound like Jay French right now, but it's true. All of those folks from Katrina they called us refugees because we were black. I don't think they would have called them refugees if they were, white people in Bel Air stranded on rooftops. They would call them, Americans in need of the services they pay their government for. That refugees situation. That's why I say we have to be so media literate, and we have to watch, what we accept into our brains, because the language that they use, and that's why I say people aren't objective. You can do your best to be fair, but you can only see the world through your eyes. What makes you think that black woman is a refugee? She is, you know what I mean? She's a victim of a natural disaster. She's a citizen of this country. Just because she don't look like you. I don't know. I appreciate the call, Willie, on a Think Tank Thursday. Somebody in the chat crying, saying it's a stink tank. Whatever it is, we're working together here to solve problems and come up with solutions. Jeanette from Inglewood, you have the mic.
Good morning, Dominique. Thank you for taking my call. So I'm so very excited about the Think Tank Thursday. Think Tank Thursday. Okay, so here's my thoughts for today. I just want to focus on two people really quickly and how they received by speaking, seeing, and doing. And unfortunately, one of them is Donald Trump. Because in 1999, I heard the recording of him talking with Larry King and how he said that he's considered running for president under the Reform Party. And, you know, as the years went on, he kept on speaking, and look at where he is today. And then the second, which is my favorite, is Kobe Bryant. His discipline. He spoke what he wanted. He saw it, and he did the work to be it. He's my inspiration, second to the Bible, which the Bible does say that you will have what you say. And I really do believe that. And so what I do is I also speak it. I speak it in the atmosphere by recording it because I believe things changes when it's spoken out loud, and some things you have to keep on saying and recording so we can catch up. And so my think tank today is to stand behind Gavin Newsom with the redistricting, because I believe it should be done because we see what's going on in Texas, and I speak it and I recording it that we the people vote. And my doing, because I know faith without works is dead, is to speak to the people on my job, to ask them to vote, you know, do the mail-in, because I have a person that I work with who's Hispanic and is afraid to go out and vote. I say mail it in. So that's my part of being part of the Think Tank Thursday. And I was just thinking maybe people in the chat can give some, you know, different ideas or things like that. And then finally, Dominique, I want to say this to you. You told us last year when we were voting, you told us on many issues that if we don't do this, this is going to happen. And the biggest thing that you said is the people that they're going to start deporting is homegrown. And so let's not forget, it looks like we're heading in that direction. So thank you, Dominique.
Yeah, thank you, Jeanette. And I want to remind you, because you're always the solution person, right? Jeanette always got an idea and a plan. And I love that we are pledging every single day on this show to be courageous, right? Mm-hmm. To be courageous in the face of authoritarianism, fascism, discouragement, to be courageous, because courage is contagious. It can be more contagious than COVID, and we need to spread it around because that's what's required, and we're the only ones that are going to fix this, right? We are the ones that are going to fix this. It's not the politicians. It's not the corporations. It's we the people. And I don't even like saying I told you so because it sucks. I want to be wrong. Like, I have a friend that's still holding on to hope that Trump will do something good, or that somehow Trump will turn out to be right. Look, let me be wrong. I would be happy to be wrong. I would be thrilled to be wrong. If Trump's tariffs turn out to be the best thing ever for America and business and black business, I will say, you know what, Mr. Trump, I'm sorry, you were right, I was wrong. But so far, it's not looking like that. So far, prices are going up. So far, people are being deported. Some are illegal, so-called illegal, undocumented. Many, their only crime was coming across the border to try to get asylum. Some are U.S. citizens. Some were just people with green cards, or they're here legally on a visa, and then Trump overturns it because they're trying to meet quotas about how many people they send out of the country. And who are these masked men? Like, are they even, we don't even know who they are. Like, we don't know what agency they are. They don't have badge numbers. Are they even trained? Who are these people kidnapping people off the streets? We do know that people are faking being ICE agents, which is really easy. All you have to do is go get a mask and a vest and act obnoxious and abridge people's rights. So, I mean, like I said, I don't want to say I told you so. I would rather say I was wrong. And Paul is in the chat saying those are January 6 people who are pardoned. And I believe that. I believe that. Now they're giving $50,000 signing bonuses and student loan forgiveness if you'll be an ICE agent. Yeah, sell your soul for $50,000 bonus. And I do think Molly Bell was in the chat talking about a moral decision that we have to make. You know, whether they're deporting citizens or not. When the slave catchers were coming for us, some people said, well, that's not me, that's them N-words. And some people said, I'm going to be a stop on the Underground Railroad. I'm going to be an abolitionist and speak out against slavery. I'm going to do something, to your point about faith without works. And I think we have to do the same. And, you know, I've been taking heat online, especially on Twitter, because when James Farr was in here on Monday, he's kind of shrugging his shoulders saying, well, no one cared when the black man was getting harassed by the police, so why should we prioritize ICE? And I'm not critiquing him. That's his position. I understand it. And as a black man, he's entitled to his opinion, just like every man and woman is entitled to their opinion. But I'm going to stand on business on this. I think we have to go with what's right and wrong. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And I won't be that person who stood by while the slave catchers took us and stand by and do nothing. I won't be that person because that's not right. And to say, well, you know, other people are wrong, so I'm going to be wrong too. I just, that's not what we're doing. That's not what I'm doing. So carry on. I've gotten more mean tweets in the past month than I've ever had in my life. And it's because of, in all cases with Jay French and with James Farr, their positions on race. It shows you where we are right now in terms of the white lash. 800-920-1580, that's the number if you want to call. Great to hear from you, Jeanette, as always. We're keeping it pushing on this Think Tank Thursday on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
If you're an African-American mom who is pregnant or have a baby under 6 months old, you deserve care that lifts, listens, and lasts. Black Infant Health is for you. It's a free program with individual support, group sessions, and resources to start your mothering journey. BIH makes space for moms and their families to create community. Learn more about the programs in Los Angeles County. Check us out at blackinfanthealth.org.
Hi, I'm LA City Councilmember Curran Price, inviting you to the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, Saturday, September the 20th, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We've got 4 pavilions, 3 stages of live music, plus food, fun, and a marketplace all along historic Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Ave. Our featured acts this year are Gregory Porter, Pancho Sanchez, and Jasmine Horn at the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, Saturday, September 20th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. along Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Avenue. Come out and bring the whole family because this legendary celebration is free. For more information, go to centralavjazzfest.com. I'm LA Councilmember Curran Price, and I absolutely approve this message.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back, indeed. The school shooter situation, I almost don't want to talk about them because I feel like, what do we say? What do we say? It's another week, another shooting. The kids were praying. It was a Catholic school. The shooter fired through the windows of a church, killed 2 kids, 17 other people wounded. Most of them were kids, marking their first week of class. It's an Annunciation Catholic school. The shooter is dead. It was a 23-year-old who went to that school, who shared a manifesto. The right is saying the person was trans and trying to make it about being a transgender. But keep in mind that that's just part of their agenda, their talking points, right? They're analyzing what this person wrote online. But the fact of the matter is that trans people do not commit more violence. In fact, 0.1% of known suspects in mass shootings have been transgender. Less than 0.1%. Which means if we're going by sheer numbers, it's cisgender people who are killing people in schools. And it's just so disgusting. It reminds me of the Lil Nas X thing that I was talking about earlier. You have an anti-trans or an anti-gay whatever agenda. So you take a tragedy and you use it to further your agenda. That's gross, ghostly, ghastly. Let's go to Johnny from Long Beach. Good morning.
Good morning, Dominique.
Welcome.
How are you?
I'm blessed. What's on your mind?
You said something about you had a guest on, and he doesn't feel as though we should, be supportive of these people being, picked up and everything.
Yeah,
and I have a different perspective.
Yeah, I want to hear your perspective. I just want to clarify. It was James Farr, so he has his own show on Saturdays. He's a regular KBLA contributor.
Right. I feel as though this is our fight too, and I know some people don't feel that way, but if you go back in back in the day during the civil rights movement, it's like Fred Hampton, okay, the Black Panthers, they had a coalition with Hispanics, okay, and I don't understand. I know there's been tension between us. But right now it'd be a good thing that if we showed them support, that we got, that we care. I say the thing about Neely Fuller Jr. about him saying about guaranteeing that no one is mistreated.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. The thing is, Johnny, too, I'm not trying to force other people to think how I think, but I'm just saying there's right and there's wrong. And the fact is, it isn't just Latinos either. I mean, there's plenty of Haitians, Africans, couple white people that are getting deported. And so it's the question I think we have to ask ourselves, are you okay with masked men being able to kidnap people off of our streets, not telling anyone where those people are going? And we don't even know what agency the kidnappers are with. Are you okay with that? And is there any American world where this doesn't have a negative impact on black people in the long run? More cops, more feds, more people having their rights taken away. In what world does that not negatively impact us?
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of people don't see it that way. You know, they feel. I mean, the man is. You know, just look at the things he's trying to do. That's all you got to do. What's he trying to do? And it doesn't. The things that he's trying to do does it affect us in any way? And I would say yes, it does. Because it's just a matter of time. You know, because he brings in martial law. Okay. And see, people don't understand. Living under martial law, they can shoot you on sight.
Well, and I mean, we don't have to wait and see because it's already happening. Look at what's going on in D.C. right now with the federal occupation of D.C. Who are they arresting? They are arresting black men. They are arresting black men, and that's what they're doing. That's what you look at, not just the postings on social media, but the numbers so far, it's mostly black men for whatever the reason is. And we know what that reason is. That's the real reason they're sending people to black cities, black led cities. You know, Tavis made a great point yesterday. 2 children were murdered and 17 injured in Minneapolis, but we're not hearing Trump talking about sending the National Guard in there. He's sending it where you are, where your cousins are, where your loved ones live. And that's who's getting... In D.C., they're not even saying it's about immigration, although they are arresting some so-called... They do have ICE there, and they are arresting some so-called migrants. But a lot of it is crime. That's the excuse they're using now. Crime. Crime is rampant. That's why they say they're going to occupy Oakland and Chicago. And that's why they're doing D.C. And crime is nothing more than a euphemism, a code word for black people.
When you put people in that situation, it's a powder keg, okay? It's just a matter of time before something happens. It's going to happen. You know, it's just the law of averages. You hit all these cities, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing I fear is those provocateurs, okay? And those are the ones that concern me, okay? And I think that right now we need to go to these youngsters and tell them, look, you know, we got your back, but you know what? They're coming after you.
Yeah.
And you have to make the adjustment. I mean, you know, we're here for you, but you have to make that adjustment. Because to be honest about it, I feel as though we let our youngsters down back in the day, back when crack and you know, came into our community, you know, gangster, you know, music and people are killing one another. It's like, I think that we have some responsibility in this, and right now we need to get to our youth and say, look, you know, his goal is to come after you, but when he does, it's like all of us are going to be affected by it.
Yeah, you're right. Not only that, I mean, I feel like we let young people down during COVID, to be honest with you, and we're still letting them down because all of the stuff we said we were going to do as far as mental health support and counselors and helping them get into colleges and supporting their long-term recovery has been nothing more than lip service. Now you've got a generation of people with multiple traumas, right? George Floyd, COVID, now this presidency, fascism. And I think you're right. It's our job to fix it or do what we can to fix it.
And Dominique, you know what? They don't care about life. When you go back to Sandy Hooks, okay, I thought that after Sandy Hooks that they would do something about guns. This country was built. I mean, if you think about the people who they sent over here, they emptied the jails. So I mean, if you think about the element that came here, they came here. They're violent people, you know. And I think it travels down, you know, through different, you know, decades of people, in that, you know, it's the violence, and I mean.
Yeah, we're gonna have to leave it there, Johnny, because I'm up against news, traffic, and sports right here. But we'll continue the conversation on another day because it's an important topic. Attorney Carl Douglas is here, and we're talking so-called less lethal, you'll be less dead weaponry. Next on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser says federal agents aren't helping, but admits Trump's law enforcement surge has cut crime.
We know that we have had fewer gun crimes, fewer homicides, and we have experienced an extreme reduction in carjackings.
She criticized masked ICE and National Guard troops, saying resident-owned AI-powered homeschooling platform. Michael Roebuck and Regina Snape Roebuck say it helps parents create personalized lessons with no teaching